When I was a kid, my grandma introduced me to a friend of hers named Jan. This lady had a puppy with her in a yellow and blue cape. And after a while, I learned that the dog's name was Emmy, and Jan was raising her to be a service dog for Canine Companions for Independence. And from that point on, I was pretty much a lost cause. I persistently begged my parents to let me raise a CCI puppy, and after 5 years of asking, my mom let me send in an application for my 14th birthday. A month later, CCI called me and they did a phone interview with me about my home life, my day to day schedule, and my other pets in the house. And a month after that, they shipped Mel the third to me. He was a seriously cute puppy, but despite that, the first few months raising him were kind of rough. Puppy raising is a 24-hour gig, especially when the dog is only 8 weeks old and fresh off the plane. Potty training, socialization, helping my other pets get used to Mel, those were all really stressful and difficult for me, so I was kind of angsty for a little bit there. It was my responsibility to make sure that Mel had a well-rounded start to her service dog career, and because he was a service dog in training, I have the legal right to take him to places like restaurants and arcades, and one time the Capitol building. And these dogs need to go everywhere that their potential owner might go. So it's not uncommon for puppy raisers to take these dogs with them on their daily errands. So you'll be running around, getting groceries with a 6-month-old puppy in tow. But socialization isn't the only part of raising a service dog. The training is just as important. And I had to train Mel to respond to about 30 commands. So we started with basic stuff like sit and down. And by the time he was a year and a half old, he could do turn and lap. He doesn't really do those anymore, but he knows them. So, the only thing I could never get him to do was speak. He's one of the quietest dogs that I've ever worked with. I think I've heard him bark 4 or 5 times. Anyway, at the end of 18 months with these dogs, the puppy raisers are responsible for bringing them to their regional CCI location and turning them in for advanced training. And this is the part of the puppy raising process that turns off most people because it is very painful. It's hard, it really is. I had to, let go of this dog that I'd had since he was a baby. And so it was difficult for me. That said, it was insanely fun to go down to Santa Rosa in California and check out the CCI headquarters and meet all these other puppy raisers from like Washington and Oregon, and I think there were a couple people from California who lived like 8 miles away. But on a related note, how many of you have read the Peanuts comics with like Charlie Brown and Snoopy and everybody? So the author of those comics, Charles M. Schulz, he was a huge supporter of CCI in his time. The organization started in 1975, and Charles M. Schulz was a big supporter until his death. So while I was down there, not only did I get to tour the Peanuts Museum, I also got to meet his widow, Jeannie Schulz, and she was remarkably fun to talk to. And she was very vocal in her support of puppy raisers and me too. She was talking like, oh, I could never do it, I spoil my corgis, I could never give them back. She was the best. It was a lot of fun. So the trip overall was pretty awesome, despite the fact that I left home with a dog and went home without a dog. So fast forward from August to December of 2012. It's a couple days after my 16th birthday, and I get a phone call from Lorna, and she's the lady in charge of the puppy program at CCI. And she tells me that my dog Mel has been released from the program due to stress levels. And she went on to explain that it's normal for the dogs to have some level of stress when they begin training because, it's a new environment, they're away from their families for the first time, and there's just a lot of things that can stress them out. But for Mel, the stress didn't go down, it went up. And not only that, but he didn't respond well to training. He would shut down instead of change his behavior when he got a correction. And then when they took him aside to try and re-engage him, he'd actively try to leave the training area. So she offered him back to us as a house pet, and we accepted. And here he is now. Mel, here. Come on, puppy. Lap. Say hello. Mel, can you look? That's a good boy. Thank you.